What's up, everybody? Welcome to another band discography ranking, where I rank every album from a certain band or artist. I have done other band discography rankings in the past, such as Beastie Boys, Nirvana, and The Doors. Go check those out if you haven't already, along with other ranking videos I've done in the past. So today I will be ranking every single Talking Heads album, from my least favorite to my favorite. Yes, Talking Heads has released 8 albums, and I'll be ranking them. So keep in mind, of course, these are my personal opinions, and this might be my most controversial uh ranking yet, because I gotta be honest. So going into this discography ranking, I liked Talking Heads. I liked them quite a bit. But I wasn't, I wouldn't call myself like a fan then, at least yet. But now the ranking listening to all their albums and ranking them, I can safely say then that yeah, I'm honestly not a Talking Heads fan. Don't get me wrong, I do like them quite a bit still, but after listening to all their albums, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of them. So this is gonna be kind of a weird list. It's gonna be a very weird list. My my least favorite might piss some people off. Who knows? I know people are probably not going to like where I place Remain in the Light, and people might not like where I'm going to place Naked either. So yeah, so this is going to be a very strange list, but this is coming from someone who likes Talking Heads but is not a big fan of them. Yeah, I was a little disappointed, honestly, after listening to all their albums, unfortunately, because I thought maybe I will become a Talking Heads fan after this. Like, I was really looking forward to this ranking, but again, yeah, not really. So, and also, I might not have a whole lot to say about these albums. This might be a shorter video. This video might not be that great. So I apologize for that, but just bear with me. So, yeah, okay. All right, so ranking every single Talking Heads album from my least favorite to favorite, one being my favorite, eight being my least favorite. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started with number eight, shall we? So, number eight, like I said, just my opinion. If you like this album, that's great, actually. But yeah, this is my least favorite Talking Heads album. That is True Stories. Yeah. True Stories, I'm not entirely sure if this is supposed to be a soundtrack to the David Byrne film of the same name called True Stories starring John Goodman. I'm not entirely sure yet if it is. Um and because I haven't actually seen that movie yet. I really want to though, but I just haven't got around to it yet. But this album is not. This is the only album I could say is not a good album, at least in my opinion. I don't think this is a very good album. All the others are okay at best, and my top three are pretty good. But I will go ahead and say my number one favorite Talking Heads album is not even one of my favorite albums of all time. It's not even in the top 100. So that tells you I'm not a big Talking Heads fan. But True Stories, I did not think this was a very good album, really much at all. Aside from the hit song on the album, which is Wild Wild Life, and there's a couple of other songs I thought were okay. Um, but like I'll tell you, the worst Talking Head song is on this album, and even a famous rock band named their band after the song. Yes, I am talking about the song Radiohead. Yeah, that song sucks, honestly. If you like that song, then I apologize, but I hated that song. I thought that was the worst Talking Head song I've ever heard. It was so bad. And it doesn't even sound like the band Radiohead, which I wasn't expecting it to, but it was it didn't really sound like a Talking Head song either, for that matter. So yeah, yeah, Radiohead was terrible, and some of the other songs, most of the other songs were just boring and just not a great album. Not a very good album. My personal favorite is honestly the most popular song on the album. That's "Wild Wild Life," which is I wouldn't say is one of my favorite Talking Head songs, but it's a good song. It's a good song. So yeah, yeah, True Stories. That is my number 8. Okay, my number 7 is Little Creatures. I think the most popular song from this album was And She Was, and that song's okay. It's never one of my favorites, but yeah, I don't really remember a whole lot about this album. I just remember it not being that great, and I remember at one point I almost got this at a Goodwill. Whenever I saw it, I think maybe the disc might have been scratched up, so I didn't get it. But I'm kind of glad I didn't get it now because it's not a very good album of what I remember. So yeah. My favorite though is "Stay Up Late," and that's a pretty good song. I remember that one being pretty good, and there might have been some others that were decent, but yeah, I wasn't a fan of Little Creature. So yeah, that's my number 7. Okay, here we go. My number 6. This is where this is where people might hate me after this. Talking Heads fans, to be to be clear, Talking Heads fans will probably hate me for this. My number 6 is Remain in Light. Just be thankful this isn't my least favorite. Okay. Yeah, this is probably what most people would say is their best album. No, it's not. It's This album for the most part is very boring and just bland, and it just I don't know. I was disappointed by this album. I really didn't. I mean I didn't hate it, but it just it's better than True Stories and even Little Creatures for that matter. But I still wasn't a fan. I still don't see the hype of this album. So yeah. And like was it Once in a Lifetime? That's a good song. Not my favorite, but it's a good one. Um, excuse me. My favorite from this album is Listening When. That one's pretty good. But yeah, Remain in Light, that is my number 6. Okay, my number 5. Now this is the one that I was actually the most disappointed by because this honestly has my favorite Talking Head song on. Yeah, this has my favorite Talking Head song. That is Speaking in Tongues. I remember hearing. I remember this album is kind of a little bit funky, and I do like funk music. I like James Brown, Parliament, stuff like that. But I remember this song being very just kind of, for the most part, kind of bland and just not really that interesting. And what's really funny is that my favorite song on the album is not even really a funky song, and that is this must be the place, which is honestly my favorite Talking Head song. Um, but yeah, and none of the rest of the album doesn't even sound like that song. So I was very disappointed by that album. Burn Down the House is on here too, and that's good, but no other song on there sounds like This Must Be the Place, and that's my personal favorite on there. So yeah. Um yeah, okay. Speaking in tongues, that is my number 5. Okay, so now these next 4 albums I do enjoy, and honestly, these might be the only 4 I might end up getting on either CD or vinyl. So, yeah. My number 4, another controversial pick like Remain a Light, because this album I think is the one that people don't like, that most Talking Heads fans don't like, and it is their very last album, that is Naked. I'm sorry, but I actually liked Naked. Now there were a couple of duds on it. Sure, not every song is good, but for the most part, I had a pretty good time with Naked. I thought it was a pretty good album. This is them like more like doing more like world music, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it quite a bit. Yeah, my personal favorites were the most popular track on the album, "Nothing But Flowers," which I remember the first time I heard that song was in Clerks 2, the beginning of Clerks 2. Um, but yeah, "Nothing But Flowers," "The Democratic Circus," and "The Facts of Life" are my personal favorites on the album. Yeah, I didn't mind it, and I don't even mind the cover either, the album cover, which I know a lot of people don't like the album cover with the monkey. I like monkeys and I like the album cover, so fuck you. No. But yeah, Naked, that is my number four. Okay, and now we're in the top three. And as maybe you could tell, especially if you're a Talking Heads fan, these last three happens to be the very first three albums in their discography. Yeah, I thought that early on they were pretty good. Not like amazing, but still pretty damn good. And then they just got kind of worse as they went on. And then the last album I thought was decent, just like the first three. But yeah, so coming in at number three, we got Fear of Music. That is the third album. Yeah, I remember that one being pretty good, although I don't really have a very good memory of that album, but I still remember I ranked it at number three whenever I heard it. So yeah. Yeah, my personal favorite on that one is Memories Can't Wait. So yeah. Fear of Music, that is number three. Number two is their debut album, that is Talking Head 77. And I remember when I first heard this album, I actually heard this album before or before I started the ranking. And I remember not really liking it that much. But on second listen, I grew to appreciate it. It's kind of different. It's kind of a weird debut album. It's not quite what you would expect from the Talking Heads, and it doesn't really sound much like a debut album, but it's interesting. It kind of reminds me of Pablo Honey from Radiohead, to be honest. So yeah, yeah, I liked it though. I liked it 77 this time around. Personal favorites are "Don't Worry About the Government" and of course "Psycho Killer," which I gotta say, all the other songs on this album does not sound like Psycho Killer. So yeah. But Psycho Killer is definitely the best one on there. So yeah. But yeah, Talking Head 77, that is my number two. And my number one favorite Talking Heads album, and as you notice, I don't have any of these albums yet. I will probably get at least my top four. But yeah, if you've been keeping track, then you should know what my favorite Talking Heads album is, and that is their second album. My number one is More More Songs About Buildings and Food. Yeah, I thought this was like I yeah. This is my favorite Talking Heads album. I thought it was really good. I would probably just give it like maybe an 8 out of 10 or maybe a 9 out of 10. I don't know, but a pretty good album. I mean, their best album, at least in my opinion, and it's better than the first one. Yeah, but still, I even this I still want to put in my favorite albums of all time list. So just goes to show that I'm not a big Talking Heads fan. So I'm sorry, but personal favorite songs from this album are "Thank You for Sending Me an Angel" and "Found a Job." Yeah, yeah. More songs about buildings and food. That is my number one favorite Talking Heads album. Yeah, my favorite Talking Heads album. Yeah. All right, there we go. There is my ranking for the Talking Heads discography. So in the comments, if you're a Talking Heads fan, I mean, first of all, I'm sorry about my ranking, but also let me know down in the comments your ranking of the Talking Heads albums, or at least the ones you've heard, or just give you like your top three favorites, maybe. Um, yeah, and also, if you want, you can let me know any other bands you want me to rank their discographies. Just let me know. I got a big list of bands, so maybe they're already on the list. But if I'm interested, if they're not on the list and I'm interested enough to do it, then I'll I'll put them on the list. But yeah, let me know. Um, so yeah, okay. So please like, subscribe, comment, and hit the bell. And next week, if look out if you're interested. I'm doing a movie related video that will be another ranking of it'll be a director ranking video that will be me ranking all of Alexander Payne's films. So look out for that. So yeah. Anyways, I'll see you. I'll see you then. All right. Peace.